Last year, Suzuki took us to Mpumalanga for a first ride on their new highly sophisticated sports tourer, the new GSXS-1000GX, that's on sale for 299,900 Rand. While there, we decided that it was a good bike indeed, and a good bike at a good price. But here's the thing about the sinuous racetrack that is in Mpumalanga. All bikes feel good there. So now that the holiday is over and real life returns, let's try it again. Now, it's a sports tourer, so therefore it should be able to do both sports and touring. Okay, so let's test it for that. We start with touring. Most bikers do around 2 hours in a stint before resting, so let's do 2 hours uninterrupted. So we rode from Joburg to Red Star Raceway and back, which is around a 2-hour trip. And so it begins.
So far so good. Yeah, my only thing is that you can't ride with the visor open, you got to kind of close it. There are some touring models with a big enough screen that you can, and sort of what we're doing now, speed limit around 100 kilometers an hour, you can easily ride with your visor open, you feel nothing. There's a little sporty element to the screen though, so not quite, no. So far so good. I mean, this bike's tall. It is tall. It's a lot taller than most of the sort of sport tourers I've ridden. And yet, for some weird reason, it's not that far off the ground. In terms of like, I haven't felt like falling over and struggling with it, so that's very good news. It means more legroom. Not the most legroom in the world. It's still a little element of crap, but not much. It feels good. Apart from that, the handlebars are in a good position, which is excellent. The seat, I mean, it could be a bit softer, sure, but I've definitely had a lot harder, so that's really not bad. And everything's very classy on this bike. The screen looks classy, the switches are sort of minimalistic and like easy to use, and everything it has such a aura of classiness to it, which I quite like. Anyway, that's first impressions.
Their motor is a 1000cc inline 4 based on the motor originally used in the GSXR1000 superbike from 2005. It pushes 152 horsepower and 106 Nm of torque, so it's somewhat fast. But for the purposes of what we are doing, it has better function than that.
Okay, we're now about half an hour in, and this motor is very luxurious. So we've had it like sitting at 100 km an hour, which is the speed limit for this road. Now, just to kind of let you know, we could do Red Star back within an hour if you wanted to, and this bike is very capable of it. In fact, if you wanted to go hang with your friends on superbikes, you could. You know, you wouldn't embarrass yourself. You can kind of hang with them. You know what I mean? This is that kind of bike. But for the terms of this test, we're kind of doing this as like traditional touring, whereby it's all about sort of eating up miles, not getting caught by cops, not anything like that. And also, if we hurry there and back, we don't get enough saddle time, so that's why we're doing this by the book. But this is a very luxurious motor, 4-cylinder. Incidentally, this quick shift is one of the best on any motorbike anywhere. You can short shift at low revs, high revs, half throttle, full throttle, anywhere, downshift, same thing, utterly perfect. It's brilliant.
We said that this motorcycle is sophisticated, and that comes from its electronic package that features literally everything you can think of.
So there's a whole lot of electronics. You got the rider modes. I just leave it an A because you know why. There's other ones you can play with them. Some people like it, go for it. Traction control, honestly, probably for something like that, you can set it on its most intrusive. It doesn't make a difference, you know. I suppose whether you're not really worried about drive out of a corner, you're more worried about not falling off. And then you got the suspension, the AD, and yeah, I just set it on soft. So far it's been really good. I mean, there's a little bit of feel through the bars of the seat, but not bad at all. And this is quite a bumpy road. And then I've got the preload on one rider. You can go for rider pillion passenger, or just rider passenger. So yeah, I know I'm a big rider, but yeah, one rider, and it's working very well so far.
With all the toy play out of the way, we turned off the back roads and onto the freeway, where again the bike was smooth and luxurious, and should you open the throttle, exciting.
fairness now, we're getting close to the end. Normally, yes, riding like this would take about 2 hours to get to Racetrack back, but with the sort of additions of filming, I've actually been in the seat for closer than to 2 hours and 45 minutes without getting out of it. And you know, my backside's a little bit sore. I do need to get up and rest it now, I do. But I've been in seats that honestly after the first half an hour I've been like, no, I'm done, get out, you know, I'm done. So 2 hours and 45 minutes in one seat is not bad, and then you walk around a bit and you feel better, but apart from that I feel good. I actually feel good. The screen, if you're a bit taller than me, you might need a bit of an extended screen. You know, you dig into the Power Extras catalog, but for me it's perfect. I can carry on. You know what, now I'd want to get off and rest a while, have something to drink, but then when I get back on I'd be good to go. And here we go. This thing can tour. It can tour. Good news. So the touring aspect's done. Now, let's have some fun. So there we go. That was the touring aspect of the GX. Now we're going to do the sporting aspect, and to help us with that, I'm actually going to call our friend. You've seen him before. He works for Suzuki, in fact. It is Mr. Carl Lawrenson. Good to have you here, mate. Hello. No, you don't say anything, because here's the thing, right? So this is a road test, okay? He works for Suzuki, you know, as you can clearly see. And all he's going to say is marketing mumbo jumbo. We don't want him to tell us how good this bike is. He's going to show us. Off you go.
And we are not just giving him any track, we are giving him Formula K, the new go-kart facility in Benoni. The straights are short, the corners are tight, and the go-karts have ground down the tar, making it ever so slippery. A daunting prospect for any bike, especially a large sports tourer. But lest we forget, this is Carl. Although the slippery track meant no elbow sliding today, it was still damn impressive. However, the GS isn't exactly a write-off either. It weighs 232 kilograms with all fluids on board, which by race bike standards is a chunk, but not so bad for a sports tourer. The frame is aluminium, a substance Suzuki is good at. The engine is more tuned for mid-range, making it easier to grunt out of the tight corners. The wheelie control did its best to stop Carl pulling the odd wheelie, but the ABS had a tight grip over the bike's ability to drift sideways on the brakes. Although Carl fought it hand and fist. Even with the slippery track, the tall bike and the semi-touring tyres, Carl was even able to get a bit of knee down in places, which is jolly well good. Round and round Carl went and the bike just went along. And this is a quandary, because generally a machine can either be good at long distance touring in a stable and luxurious manner, or it can dart around a racetrack. It shouldn't be able to acceptably do both. And yet here we are. We told you this bike was sophisticated. And we were right. Only that it's more than just electronics. It's everything.
Welcome back. Now, previously you saw this man, Mr. Carl, not being allowed to speak. He can kind of ride a bit though. I think we've kind of
I don't know, Don, eh? You guys caught me by surprise of putting on a go-kart track, eh? And B, maybe I got a little upside down, but it's okay.
He sort of did spin out once, but it wasn't on camera, sadly. We asked him to do it again, and for some weird reason he wouldn't.
Yeah, so, no, look, the parts department asked me to stop, eh? So we'll leave it at that. Thanks, Dean.
Listen, okay, now we're doing the interview. You are allowed to speak. Welcome back. We previously had your GX and a lot of fun, and that seems to be getting more and more popular, the whole GX, the sport touring, you know. As we showed, you kind of got a bit of everything there, do a bit of everything.
Well, the advantage, Don, is you've got an upright position where you can ride on a day-to-day basis, enjoy, go on long trips and everything. And if you want to be a little bit of a hooligan and get a little bit sideways,
just don't do a pirouette like
don't do what I do.
That. But okay, we are though going to speak about these. They're called superbikes. You might remember them. They used to be a really big thing, but they do in fact still exist. They are in fact very, very cool. This is a GSXR1000.
Yes.
In some countries they're not allowed to sell them because they're not free countries, but South Africa is surprisingly a free country.
Yeah, Don, we often get asked, you know, what's happening to the GSXR1000? Are you still making? Yes, we're still manufacturing them. They're still for sale, you know. They come in and get to dealers, and from dealers they disappear. You know, they're going out quite quickly. So we've still got A models available. We've got R models available, as well as the 750.
Yes,
so we've
750.
got 750, but
wow,
we have still got them.
Holy cow! What an iconic little motorcycle. Okay, now GSX-R1000. It is a bit older now. I mean, I remember when we first rode it, and we were absolutely blown away. But I mean, the superbike, kind of the road superbike market hasn't changed that much. This bike is still an excellent motorcycle. It still performs very much up there with the more, shall we say, more recent bikes.
Look, I think that at the end of the day, if it ain't broken, don't fix it.
It is a lovely way to look at it.
We've seen it succeed so many times, you know. World endurance racing and everything like that.
Yes.
So it is still there. The CERT team is still using it.
I've seen in various domestic, I mean, okay, they don't do world superbikes anymore, but in many of the domestic championships overseas, their national championships, there's Suzuki's up there running up front.
100%, along with this and our 8Rs. So that's also another growing thing.
Exactly. Now, okay, here's something that this bike does have that is quite something over every other new superbike you can get these days, and that is the price. Actually, when you told me this, I couldn't quite believe it. So go on then, ladies and gentlemen, how much is this motorcycle?
So the A is currently retailing at 318,950.
318. Now that's this one. It hasn't got quite the sort of tricker suspension and that, but it's still proper.
You know, some of us at the office prefer this to the R, but a lot of the guys prefer the R to this.
So 318, how much is the R?
The R is 319,950. So for an extra 1,000 rand, you've got yourself the top of the range, you know.
But hang on, okay, I mean, there is another superbike in standard trim. It's 250,000 rand more expensive than this thing. And I know some of the other, I'm not going to mention their names in this one, but some of the other manufacturers that, shall we say, bring out, you know, update their bikes more often. They really are. Some of them are 200,000 rand more than that. How does Suzuki do it? They always seem to do these ridiculous prices when everybody else can't.
Look, at the end of the day, I think Mr. Baker himself, he plays clever with those sums, you know. And ultimately, he gets it right. And at the end of the day, we want bums in seats. And to have bums in seats, we have to have the right pricing. A lot of us as manufacturers and distributors in South Africa, a lot of us are still motorcyclists running a motorcycle division. And that's the most important part, because we understand what motorcycles do to a person who buys it. It's an affair of the heart, and that's the most important part.
Exactly. Now, speaking of more fun on motorcycles and bum in seats, you guys have Suzuki Weekend Away. It's quite some distance from now, but it's closing in quickly.
Yeah, so Suzuki Weekend Away, we've finalized the dates. It will be in July. 4, 5, 6th of July. So keep
Numbi
your
Hotel again.
Numbi Hotel, we won't change.
Guys,
and again, another weekend of fun games, activities. And the thing, Donovan, it's not only for Suzuki owners, it's for everybody. If you ride a motorcycle, come join us. We've got a couple of the Jimny 4x4 guys that come to join us. You got a Jimny? Come have a look. You know, come have some fun.
I like it.
So keep an eye out on our Facebook page. It'll be also distributed to a lot of the South African motorcycle media. So just keep an eye out and go from there. We'll do something on the bike show coming forward as well, put an ad out there. I've got some videos so we can make a nice clip about it, and come join us, come have some fun.
It's going to be fantastic. So there we go, Carl. Thank you very much for being our crash test dummy.
Thanks,
and for telling us about this motorcycle. GSX-R1000, it's still out there, and Suzuki Weekend Away on the 4th of July. Right, now you might wonder how exactly we filmed this TV show. well, with cameras, obviously. Now we have our big sort of Nikons, that kind of thing, which we film for a lot of it, but you know, the Nikons are a bit kind of big and unwaverly when we're sort of riding around. You don't want a big camera like this all over the place, so we use action cameras. Now, you probably have a camera immediately come into your mind, and no, actually we don't use that one. We use a brand called Insta360 360 cameras, which is so cool because they film in 360. For example, here's one now. They've released a new one. Now, the ones we had previously was called the X3. They used to shoot in 5.7K. Now, you all know about HD, you all know about 4K. This shot in 5.7K. However, this one is the X4. It comes in this very lovely case that just unzips like this, and out comes the camera. As you can see, it's two different lenses. Both are fisheye lenses, so big wide angle lenses stuck together. What's so clever about this is not so much the lenses and all that. I mean, that's all great, but the software that goes into this. So basically you've got two different cameras shooting in two different directions, 180 degree each, and the software inside this thing stitches the two images together. It's so clever and seamlessly, so you can't even notice it. And it's brilliant. It's utterly brilliant, because again, you'll be riding along and it's shooting 360, it's shooting everything in every direction. It's shooting. Now, with a traditional onboard camera, it's sort of mounted here and it's pointing in that direction. So whatever happens, it has to happen in that direction. But let's just say you're riding along and over there is Elon Musk on a dinosaur with a volcano. Now, that is quite a sight. You definitely want that on camera, but you've got this camera pointing that way, and Elon Musk on a dinosaur with a volcano is over there. However, with this, you can be looking at this way, you know, show where you're going, and if we happen to glimpse Elon Musk on a dinosaur with a volcano, it will still grab it also, so you get 360 views. It's utterly brilliant. With this though, you can go from wide globy all the way to far further in. You could zoom far further in and still have a very clear shot. Also, it's got new, I don't know how these things work. I'm not a camera guy, but the colors are a lot better. The highlights are a lot better. The shadows are a lot better. And I think some of you know what all that means. But basically, the whole shot is a lot clearer. You can see a lot more of it, a lot more in focus, a lot more vivid, and it looks utterly brilliant. Now, also, it's got more other things. For example, it's got a touch screen. So you turn it on like that. The buttons are exactly the same. So there we go. It's got this touch screen. It's a bigger one than the X3 with more functions than that. You don't have to shoot it in 360 mode. What you can do is you can put it in different modes. For example, you can lock it on the front camera. You can lock it on the rear camera. So if you want like an ordinary onboard camera, you can have that. Although I don't know why you would want that. Why don't you just put it in the 360 mode? Way better. But here's the sort of thing. So what happens is then after you shot, you then have to go and sort of edit it. So you sort of edit it. Now, you'll see when we're shooting the bike show, this happens quite a bit, where we'll be kind of riding along and the camera will kind of pan in different directions. Now, it sounds like we've got some fancy jig on the front of a camera car with an expensive machinery and a big camera there and a guy with a remote operator like you see in the movies, and quite frankly, no, we just got one of these. And then in post-edit, using literally your cell phone, you kind of show where you want to shoot, and it like re-records it. You can shoot in any angle, zoom up, zoom down, zoom in, zoom out, pan left, pan right, all of that. It's utterly brilliant. Now, just be wary, it's a lot more work after you've been riding. So although it shoots everything while you're riding, it's a lot more work afterwards to get it together, but it's worth it because you get far better shots. You can do so much more stuff, and it's excellent. This X4 also comes with a longer life battery, so it will last you a long time. If I've got this on full battery, I'll film the entire day, and honestly, I won't run out of battery. So that is utterly brilliant. Now, the other thing, it comes with some accessories, or you can get some accessories with it. This, for example, is a selfie stick. It's a 3-meter selfie stick. It goes very, very high, and it's kind of funny because it almost takes the sort of a place of a drone, so you can actually extend it right up high, shoot right down, and you almost got like a bird's eye view of everything. It looks utterly brilliant. And as I said again, the software in these things is fantastic. It's so clever. It actually it edits out the stick. It makes it go away. So you don't actually see the stick. All you see is yourself standing there like this going, or when it's on the bike. I mean, we do shots where we mount this, so it's got a thread over here, so you put a clamp on the actual handlebars, you screw this in, then you extend it out, and you can actually ride with it like this. So you ride with the camera on the end like that, and it shoots backwards, and it's like you've got a sort of a tracking car following you along when it's just you. It's utterly, and it edits out the stick, so you can't actually see the stick, so no one knows except anybody who knows about Insta360. But it's brilliant. They've got other things like there's various mounts. You get obviously the clamps that go on the handlebar, then the camera can screw in, or this screws in, or it actually gets slightly better, because what they've got now is you've got the ordinary clamp, you clamp it onto a bike, you screw it in, you screw this in, and then put the camera on the end, extend it out as far as you go, but it often gets a bit wobbly. So what they've done now is they've got this. It's like a double clamp. So what you would do, for example, is clamp this onto, for example, the rear foot peg, and then hang this over, then you clamp this on the grab rail for the passenger. It grabs on the grab rail and then grabs onto the selfie stick, keeps it stable. It is utterly brilliant. It's very fantastic. It's very clever. And really, the amount of good shots you get with this thing. Also, if you look here, this has a lens protector. You get two different, so when you buy the camera, you get a sort of cheapy lens protector, which is good. But this is the more expensive glass one. It just gives a better look, a better high quality feel, and it's more protective. But you want these, because you see the lenses on these things are very complicated things. And if you drop it and you crack a lens, you can't just simply hand it and get it replaced. It's very complicated. It needs to have this thing in a hermetically sealed chamber. It needs to be taken apart, re-glued back together, all sorts of things. Literally, it has to go back to the factory. So you don't want to crack the lenses on these things. You put these on. They're very simple. They just click on, and there we go. Look at this. Now I can drop it and all that. Or I'm not going to on purpose, but the lens protector will protect it, and I don't need to, and if anything, if I just break it or I scratch it, I just get a new lens protector. So in 8K, it'll shoot it up to 30 frames per second, which is quite a bit. If you go to 5.7K, which is really not bad, you can shoot at 60 frames per second, which means you can literally slow it down half. So you can kind of slow it down half the speed. If you shoot at 4K, which is, you know, still quite a bit, it'll go as slow as 100K, so you can 100 frames per second. So you can slow it down 4 times, and you can kind of go, whoa. Now, these things are imported by Photo First. You might remember Photo First. They're the people who used to do the sort of, you know, when you used to have the film, you know, ask Dad about it. When you had film, you took it in, and an hour later, they developed all your photos, and you go and look at all your holiday pics and feel good about yourself. Yeah, they have adapted for the sort of modern world. They still, in fact, do develop photos. It's pretty cool. You can get an app, you can put all your digital photos on there, send it down to whichever store, and then go fetch printed photos, which, come now, it's nothing cooler than actual printed photos. It's very cool. But they also now, they've adapted, they've got all sorts of camera equipment, all the sort of common stuff, you know, they sell all of it. But they also are the importers of these. And sort of the guy behind these is an avid motorcyclist himself. He does ride adventure bikes, and, you know, he knows all about motorcycling, so he's very, very keen for us to try this thing. It's on sale. It depends where you go, but it's not just Photo First. You can also go, I mean, like Bike Kings, for example, sells them. A bunch of the accessory dealers sell them. And depending on where you go, the camera just by itself is about 13,500 Rand. You get a special motorcycle kit, which comes with a whole lot of clamps and sticks and all sorts of things, so you can mount it on your bike and all that. And that's for around 15,500. So, I mean, actually, you go compare it to some of the other cameras, that's really not bad. And those cameras are not 360s, they're just normal sort of straight cameras. That is a really, really good price.